All right, we're getting set up here. Welcome back, guys. It's been a long time. I think the last time we did a Q&A, two Marine Raiders did a Q&A was what, 3 years ago? Yeah. Remember in the old office with like the wood backdrop and the wrinkly flags? Everybody was so upset about the wrinkly flags.
Press and crease those things.
Yeah, I know. Welcome to Two Marine Raiders and a Q&A with Josh HONSBERGER.
What's happening?
Josh and I were on a team together.
Way back when?
We were both a lot more sexier back then.
I beg to differ.
So we wanted to do a but we're here now. This is my office. Johnny Slicks is completely taken over. But before we get started, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and then the little notification bell to help you get notified when these videos go live. YouTube reached out and said that you actually will get notified now. Oh. Because they created a back-end analytic that now they're telling creators how many people are getting notified if you hit the bell. So they have to be a little more honest, I guess. So that helps us out, and it helps you out when the content goes live. So hit that subscribe button, hit that little arrow key. So what I did was I put out the notification that if you text me a question, we're going to answer it. So my text group is 910-387-0923, which is right here. And you can join that. And then this is how we're getting the questions. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Nick Koumalatsos. This is Josh HONSBERGER. We were both Marine Raiders. We served in the same team together. And now we're out doing other things, bigger and better things. All right. So first question, here we go. This is coming from Jason Carter. Jason Carter's asked, do you recommend going infantry to recon to MARSOC or intel to MARSOC? What I guess I'm trying to say is what would be the best route for MARSOC? I made a video on this a while back, but my thoughts really are, I was never infantry, Josh was, but being a recon Marine, I felt like it helped in some ways. And a lot of other ways, a lot of people, it did not help. I think it kind of hindered because it had a certain mind. I was able to adjust very easily. So was other Nick.
Yep.
There's a lot of guys that were able to adjust. Some guys just weren't able to adjust.
They couldn't make that mental shift of the difference in the two MOSs and their outcome that they were shooting for.
But my personal opinion is do a job that you're going to be an asset to a team. An asset to a team is combat engineer, mechanic, what else?
Anything that's got a skill set or a trade craft or knowledge that other than shoot, move, and communicate.
Because that's going to be taught to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what else do you bring to the team?
Are you a force multiplier, or are you just going to be someone who's, been taught, the basic pipeline and pathway, and you're kind of just an average Joe at that point? So you want to be a multiplier to the team, bring something else from your past. That could be MOS related, or it just could be in life in general. You're an avid, motorcycle mechanic on the side, or, I think just diversify yourself as much as humanly possible. And if that is your pathway of where you want to go, then at the time that you have the availability to go ahead and do that, then put it in your package and then work in order to get there. But your roadway or your roadmap leading up to it, be as best as you can at everything that you do. Strive to learn everything you can and be a force multiplier, a very diverse person.
Concur. Okay, you're next.
I have a meeting with the Guard Special Forces for an interview today. I'm just going to be honest, when I was younger, I also have a lawyer helping me, so wish me luck. Verbiage is a little bit messed up, but I'm guessing you might have some tainted past. I don't know if you really need a lawyer to go into an interview with you. That might mean you have something that you're really trying to hide. Could be wrong, but I don't know.
Can you imagine talking to the recruiter?
With a lawyer next to you?
And the lawyer leans over, he's like, don't answer that.
Don't answer that one.
The recruiter's like, dude, you have to. I need to know this information.
Not sure how well that's going to go. But I wish you luck.
All right. So the next one is I'm shipping out mid-December with the Recon contract and finish the 12-week Recon Prep Program. That's good. Hopefully you did USMC prep before that. Should I just redo it and start back over week 1, day 1, or should I continue to increase the work loads, volume, swim, ruck, sprint distances? So typically we suggest that you don't do, if you're coming into the Marine Corps, you don't do the Recon or Raider prep, that we focus on the USMC prep. Now, that said, if you've been an athlete your whole high school career and you take a Marine Corps PFT and it's 280 or above, then you're kind of already a next level athlete. And you could start off there. I think, and we'll get Josh's opinion in a sec, but my thoughts are when you redo these programs, granted it's the same 12-week training cycle, but your lifts are going to increase, your run times are going to increase, your ruck times are going to increase. So therefore, it's almost like starting a new program completely over again because it's a new you.
Yep.
So
exactly it. Like your output is going to determine what you get on the backside. So your end result. So yeah, if you've already done the program, so you understand at certain times there's maybe a percentage requirement for a main lift, and that might be 50, it might be 80. I don't know. But I'm guessing between the last time you did the program and when you're looking to do it right now, that percentage has changed. So therefore the program will still be a benefit. I mean,
right.
It's never not going to be a benefit. You're just starting with new numbers and a new you. So the effort that you put into it is going to, you'll reap different benefits on the backside. Same with the sprints, rucks, everything. You'll just improve more, but the protocol is going to continue to help you to improve.
Next question.
Right here. Can a Marine or a Recon or MARSOC receive medical training, or will those medical positions only be taken by members of SARC or other soft medics? All military branches, as far as I still have the understanding, you will receive some sort of medical training. Now, depending on where you go, if you're in regular military, your level of training's going to be at a certain level. Once you reach into the teams, either Recon, MARSOC, or some other special capacity, your medical training is going to enhance. You're going to get higher levels of medical training. That's everybody on the team across the board. You go to actual courses and programs.
Some of the best training that you'll ever receive.
Without getting into specifics of it, but
right.
like you'll receive some very, very good training. However, the actual medic position or title or like designator for that team is most definitely going to be a SARC or an 18 Delta, or depending on where you are, what branch you're in, it's going to be to that level because you need someone who is as capable of what those guys do. And their school is probably one of the most intense out there.
Yep.
Very capable human beings at what they do. But yeah, everybody on the team is going to have a pretty good level of medical or tactical trauma. It's TCCC, tactical combat, casualty care.
Yeah, but your first line trauma is going to be on point, and you are going to be more than capable of taking care of people.
Yeah.
All right. On the medical side, Mr. Murphy, I looked at the standards for both Recon and Raiders and saw that there seems to be strict medical requirements. What is the likelihood of someone with a previous injury, as a knee injury, that required surgery and several months of recovery would be permitted to BRC and ARS? What types of cases are automatically disqualifying? Have you seen waivers granted for? He's a second lieutenant. So that's not, everybody's going to get injured. If it's a physical injury that you can recover from, we all have them. Everybody has them. It's not going to be a problem unless that injury prevents you from performing. Now, if that injury prevents you from doing certain things that are required, then that's one thing. Getting injured, either in the Marine Corps or sport, and then having to recover from that. We all go through that and we all recover from that. The things that really are an issue are mental medication stuff, things that would prevent you from getting support in austere environments. So like that.
Your state of recovery.
Yeah.
What your current abilities are. Is there anything holding you back?
That's it.
29, fresh out of boot camp, and I'm in the fleet. I have a 289 PFT, 290 CFT. I was wondering if you think MARSOC would accept older applicants. This question might be this answer might be a little bit blanket, but to be honest, the standards can change from time to time. Your best thing to do on a question like this is seek a MARSOC recruiter. They have the most up-to-date information with who they're accepting, who they're not accepting, why they might not be accepting certain individuals. But I don't know what the current age limit is. I know it does change. Sometimes it has to do with rank structure as well. But seek a MARSOC recruiter.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was rank. I don't know.
It's gone back and forth.
Yeah.
So it can change from time to time.
All right. Yeah, so this one's interesting. This one's about transitioning out and talking about it from the spouse's perspective, which is difficult, and which is I touched on in my book, which you reference, Sarah. Yeah, no one. There are people that do it, but of course the focus is always going to be on the veteran, because that's the one who did the whole thing, and the sex of that veteran doesn't matter. It's really about the spouse and that person. We talked about this in the last Q&A, and this got brought up. It's really about communication, and being patient and open. And I'll put it back on the veteran. It's on the veterans. It's in the veterans court to be open and communicate, to seek help. And I don't mean help because he has a problem, but to seek help to grow past leaving the military, whatever kind of trauma or not
adversities or anything you might have come
identity
across.
Crisis is what I was thinking. Like to seek help with any sort of identity crisis, because you're no longer this thing. You're no longer this Marine. And I know people say you once a Marine, always Marine. Sure, I understand that. There's a certain code to come with that. But we all know when we get out, you're out, man. You're a civilian.
It's a t-shirt at that point.
Yeah, it's a t-shirt.
Not a profession.
You're right. You're just no longer a profession. You got to find out who you are. And it's really on that person to, not suck it up, but really suck up where they're at and grow.
Realize if there's a way forward that they say that they want and say that they desire, then build a path of trying to figure out how to get to that point.
And communicate that with your spouse.
It ain't easy.
And if you don't, no, it's not easy. And you went through it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it makes it so much more harder. And then if you don't, it ain't gonna last. The only way to do it is to communicate and be able to say hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm feeling. This is where my head's at. I mean, this is what Allie and I do all the time. And I tell her, I don't even have a solution or anything. I just tell her, hey, this is where.
I was just going to say that.
This is where I'm at.
It might not even be because you have an answer or you're going to be able to find,
this is what's on my mind.
The golden ticket to road to success, but at least you're constantly having that discussion of what's going on. So maybe if something really big does pop up, it's not going to be so hard to approach that other person, because you've always been in constant discussion and communication. And you never know when someone might be able to drop a little bit of knowledge or something that you have that you didn't know. Got a big one.
Just sum it up.
Navy corpsman, passed the PST, did the interview with SARCs at an organization, put in a SARC and SEAL package. What would you say to the person interviewing you that knows you are going in for another special program? How do I assure them I just want to operate on the highest level regardless of if I wear a Trident or a Raider insignia? Question number 2. Well, let's answer that one. There's nothing you can say.
Yeah.
There's no keywords. There's no special phrase or hidden conversation to be had. You're being.
Yeah, you're being. I mean, I want to be the best version of myself, and I want to be in a community with like-minded individuals to be able to serve to the highest of my capacity. That would be my answer.
So how do you assure them?
Yeah.
You can't give any assurance. You can just put your best self out there at all times because you're constantly being assessed. and then that
always
will-
being assessed.
that will be your assurance of whether or not you've laid that precedence throughout your career. In your opinion, how different was the career of a Raider different than the SEALs from what you saw? I don't know. Were you a SEAL?
I was a SEAL.
I was a SEAL either. Seriously though, everyone has got their own experiences. Even though we both were Raiders, we didn't have the same experience, and so I can't really speak from his shoes about his personal actions or things that might have come across him. So I don't know. Did you do a lot of amphib boarding ships, water focused training? If there's a certain selection for that, I see a lot of your photos are mainly on the land. Thank you, Mr. Koumalatsos.
You didn't pay attention. I was on a dive team for 5 years. Next question. All right. Hey, I'm a big fan. My dream is to become a Recon Marine. I'm 15 years old. Do you have any tips on how you can better chance of making it? So, Daniel, I did a video called My Advice to Joining the Military in 2020. Did not know COVID was going to pop off. So, my probably video would have been a little bit different. However, I'd have been like, buy some home gym equipment. Nonetheless, that video kind of sums it up if you haven't watched that. The big thing is, man, at 15 years old, train like an athlete, build yourself up, train smart, okay? Get in the best physical shape that you can be in, play sports, wrestle, do jiu-jitsu, learn a language, know your history. And then, did I say stay out of trouble? Stay the hell out of trouble, man. Like, you've got your whole life in front of you. Don't do anything so stupid just because your friends want to go out and knock off mailboxes or get drunk by a lake, or I don't know, whatever that people do anymore.
I think they do that. It's in the movies now.
Is it? It's
baseball bats to the mailboxes?
Oh, we definitely did that. So, they're probably just playing video games now, especially because of COVID. But nonetheless, stay out of trouble, man. And then literally, like, if your focus is trying to be the best human being you can be as far as athletically, mentally, I mean, that's going to set you up for success to when you're 18 or 17, you walk into a recruiter's office and you got a 300 PFT, you speak a language and you know so much about history. I mean,
brings it back to being a force multiplier.
Yeah, you're just like, what do you have to offer? And they're literally just going to walk you right in and be like, sweet, as you go in. So good luck to you. I would highly suggest go to usmcprep.com. Start there. It's a great foundation building, and then hit us up. We'll start working with you when you get older.
What was your biggest thing that impacted you as a Raider? Also, thank you for your service. My great-grandfather was a part of the Edson Raiders.
Damn.
That's pretty rad.
That's pretty rad.
Thank him for his service.
Yeah.
Shit, that's awesome. My biggest impact, to not sound cliche, is the other men that I was in the team with.
Definitely.
All of them. Every single one of them. It has nothing to do with what I might have did or did not do or came across. It has everything to do with the interaction of the other guys that were on my team, and everything that I was able to pull from them.
I concur. I mean, it was just like, looking back now after all these years, it's like giants among men. I mean, they were just, it's mind blowing the type of individuals and personalities and what we accomplished with a small amount of people, both in Recon and Raider and my Raider teams. Just amazing. I concur with Josh. Somebody wants to know about how effective our ebook is for joining Recon.
Extremely.
I'll tell you this: anybody that's gone through it and put forth the effort that they have, like they actually put forth some effort. We haven't had anybody drop because of physical reasons.
Nope. Anything? No. If anything, our success rate is damn near 100%.
Yeah. I mean, you can't help but getting injured. That happens. If you don't pay attention to your op orders classes, then that happens.
Yes.
Can't help your land nav. Although we put that in there and say, hey, can you learn how to land nav? Can't help you there. But as far as physically, we can help you, and it's extremely effective.
Another thing on that one, what I would say is set your own self up for success. So if you're looking to go to a selection of some sort, I don't care where it is, That's any branch of the military, that's law enforcement, whatever it may be. Give yourself enough time to properly train for that selection or that assessment period. If you think you can do it in 3 months and successfully complete it, your likelihood is probably pretty small. Make sure that on the backside you feel extremely comfortable and you're like, yes, I feel like I'm where I need to be within the standards, and then go forth. But give yourself enough time. Don't expect the book to do it in 2 weeks for you.
Yeah, not gonna happen. Give yourself a year to 2 years.
I'm a Lance Corporal in intelligence. He's a SIGINT guy. Regularly looking for slots over at MARSOC.
Go. Grass is
Can
greener.
you explain a little about the difference between an operator and an enabler? If you are not an actual operator, what will you be doing with the team if you have a team on a specific role? You're not a shooter. You're a SIGINT guy, but by no means does it mean you're treated differently, or at least I hope not. Should be treated with just the same amount of respect as anybody else on the team. I mean, you're a team member.
Yeah, I mean, you're an asset to that team.
Yeah, you're still going to have to go through all the requirements of pre-deployment training and packages. It just means that in addition to everything else the team is doing, this is also your job, and you need to meet those requirements as well.
There's good enablers and bad. The good enablers, and I'll tell you, anybody that's coming into a team always shows up kind of to lend a hand. I mean, they show up not trying to be something that they're not, but they show up to be an asset to the team. And when you show up with that mindset of like, hey, I'm here to work, what do you guys need? And that goes for a Raider or an enabler. It goes for anybody that's on any team. You know, if you show up with the mindset of like, hey, I'm here to fucking throw down, and whatever you guys need me. I mean, I could be doing SIGINT stuff at night and then cleaning out the shitter in the day, because that's a real thing.
It really happened. It really did happen.
That happened. You have one of the most talented SIGINTers in the U.S., probably like by far one of the best in the United States, and he literally is pumping shit out of a septic tank on the base because that's what's required.
Jobs need to get done.
Jobs need to get done. So, I'd say if you're an enabler going to MARSOC or any team, just have the mentality of like, I'm here to work and I'm here to make myself an asset to this team, and then watch what happens and how you become part of that team.
Aspect of it is going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Was that you or me? That was
a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next one, and I've been getting this a lot. Thoughts on the comments of the future of the Marine Corps, specifically no tanks, more robotic naval. Is it prepping for China? Marine Corps losing identity, like a lot of people are saying. I might get like thrown, out of the Marine Corps club for saying this, but in my opinion, like tanks cost a lot of money. Okay. And what is the chances after what we just did in Iraq and Afghanistan that we will go into a war again like that?
I don't know. But on the tank issue is that I know they're like fast movers are coming in.
Yeah.
Strikers, I think this is what they are. I actually just had a conversation with this, with guys at CW4, I think it is. He's over with tanks. Well, he's a tanker doing something else right now. And he doesn't seem to think that there's any problem with it, other than like an identity of a tanker.
Right.
Right. And what everyone, since we've had tanks,
things change.
Had that camaraderie between, but he's like, fuck, if that's the direction that the higher powers at B feel that, our military needs to move in an effort to do whatever good they need to do down the road. He's like, I'm just a tanker. He's like, they're thinking strategically. So maybe the striker is the better idea. I mean, it can go land, it can go water.
Yeah, and that's kind of like my
faster,
thought is,
more versatile.
Why did tanks come about in the first place? They were a huge asset. Yeah, they were a huge asset at the time. But I mean, we didn't have, surface to air, and we didn't have as much, like our naval assets weren't what it is. Our air assets weren't what they are. I mean, there's a lot that's changed, but that hasn't changed. and warfare across the board is now tactics, battlefield tactics. The big blue arrow stuff will always kind of be the same. But at the end of the day, like, I just don't see armies lining up against each other. I mean,
I hope not.
I hope not. I mean, totally could happen. But I think because of technology, it's a very different battlefield these days. And I know some things personally, that the way things are going on with the fight to ISIS and some other things that we don't hear in the media anymore, and there's good reason for that, aren't being done by full tanks or full frontal attacks. It's a lot more asymmetrical. I wrote an article on this a long time ago, and I just think that the battlefield is changing. I think technology is changing, and the Marine Corps needs to adapt to that. Otherwise, they will be left behind. But it doesn't sound like they're going to. It sounds like they're adapting. So that's kind of my response to that.
Is Raider ITC harder than A&S was? Two completely different beasts to handle. A&S was its own component. ITC was its own component. They're also geared specifically for a different outcome. The intent behind those and what they're looking for out of people and what they're looking to do to people is a completely different construct. So I don't even really like comparing them, to be quite honest. They both had their own difficulties, or things that were maybe a little more difficult for some people, some things that were easier. But to be honest, they're looking for two completely different outcomes. And that is their intent behind it. So therefore, they're different.
Gage wants to know, what language do you learn in Raider training? None.
Whichever one they send you to.
Yeah, because when we were hot and heavy, just going directly to, I was a little senior, and you're just going back and forth to Afghanistan. And it was like, for me, it was Iraq, and then back and forth to Afghanistan. And then most of us did that. I know that they did do, about the time that I was getting out, a little before, they started the language program. And then now it's rooted in there good. I don't know if I think it's French. They dropped Tagalog. And then is it Pashtun or Farsi? There's like three main ones.
There's a couple main ones, but then it just figure the hot spots in the world.
Yeah. So it's part of your pipeline now. So if you make it, you will go through some sort of language training based off of your DLAB score. So whatever your DLAB score is, they will put you in into
language.
Yeah.
You want to bring up his name or no?
Is that our guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Question here. You got a kid. You said he joined the delayed entry program 2 weeks ago. He spoke to John Stevens, who's a good friend of both of ours.
Yeah.
And he gave his input on this, but he was looking for our input. What MOS do you recommend shipping out with a given end goal of Marine Raider?
We kind of already answered this.
Mr. Stevens recommended combat engineer, intelligence, communications.
So skill
sets. Be a force multiplier, and be an asset to your team. And this isn't just coming from me and him. It's not like we were behind the scenes trying to, construct anything. This is from another human being.
What's funny is Cody Alfred, when we did our video, he said the same exact thing.
Yep.
And it's because when you get out in the field, it's like you need, like, they used to make fun of Ben all the time too, because Ben was a boat mechanic, and they were like, oh, you're just this was back in the Recon days. Oh, you're just a boat mechanic. And then we would go out, we'd be 14 miles off, and the motor would go down.
Motor shit the bed.
Motor shit the bed, and you're in a 7-foot Zodiac, and all of a sudden he's like, man. It's like, yeah.
You're gonna call for help now.
Yeah. All of a sudden this guy like pulls out something out, a lace from his boot, and gets the motor started and gets you back safe. So that with being said, it's all about your capability. This is a good one. So which MOS produces the most competent, effective officers in MARSOC? So I don't think it's an MOS thing. I do have an opinion on the MOS thing, but I don't think it has anything to do with the MOS. I think it comes down to what type of person they are. If they're a good, I've seen some really, really bad officers there, and I've seen some really amazing leaders there as well. Personally, I think an intel officer does better there than an infantry officer. That doesn't mean that an infantry officer won't do well. That goes back to the person. If the person can pivot and innovate and think on their feet and understand what the operation needs, then which is what a leader does, then that person will do just as well. That's Nick's opinion.
I feel the same. It's very personnel dependent. So trying to drive it down to a particular MOS, I don't know if I could really do that. I'm a Marine in the Marine Reserves, currently a little over my 3-year mark out of my 6-year contract. Civilian career is law enforcement, wanting to join Recon Reserves out of Alabama. What would you suggest that I should do in order to go Recon, but yet stay in the reserves? There's a reserve component for Recon.
Yeah, talk to your career planner.
Talk to your recruiter. I just had a conversation with a guy that is down in Texas, and he's part of the Force Recon guys that are down there. So
he doesn't talk to the recruiter, he talks to career planner.
Career planner, because you're going to have to, I don't know what your current MOS is, but you're going to have to get a boat space over there. So talk to your career planner.
Actually, for reservists, man, you guys if you can get a space, dude, you guys have it made, because if you can get a boat space to go, once you go, man, you're going to get all the schools. It's just completely different for a reservist. And then, like, I don't know. I'm a little envious sometimes, because they play they get all the fun shit, but they don't have to deal with like the day-to-day bullshit. Yeah. It's like, hey, we're gonna do all this training, cool, and then it's like, then you're back home doing whatever the hell you want to do, and then you're like, hey, we're going on deployment, sweet, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's all the in between of all those things that always sucked. All the good stuff reservists just jump right in and do.
It's like if you had a tab for everything, like Recon, Sniper, Ranger, Free Fall, Dive Master, like that's what a lot of reservists end up getting, is they get all the spaces.
Yeah.
So anyways, man, if you can do it, you need to talk to your career planner, make that shift over there, and you do not need to have BRC under your belt or have that MOS under your belt to get attached or to go over there. Because that's something that they will basically build a pipeline for you and then send you thereafter.
So I got a question, and I'll sum it up. Basically, he's saying this: instead of training and preparation aside, what does it take for someone to become a Recon Marine or a Raider or whatnot? At the end of the day, it takes grit. I mean, it takes, like, if you're prepared physically, then you're good to go there. But it takes grit, because you're going to get put in some of the most uncomfortable physical, mental situations that you've ever been in your life. And when those situations happen, if you can't laugh at about yourself, about how bad this sucks and how bad your body is failing and how bad how cold, wet, and tired and hungry you are, if you can't look at your guys and go, this fucking sucks, you're like, that right there alone you're not going to make it. Every time something sucks, even to this day, I still have that thing where I'm literally on the mats getting choked out by some 18-year-old kid because he's been rolling since he was 5. And I'm like, and then I get done, I tap out, I get done, and I'm like, I laugh, I'm like, that was fucking awesome.
That was great.
That was great.
Thanks.
You know what I mean? Like, and they just look at you and shake your head. That's what it takes. It takes grit. It takes knowing that it's going to suck, but you're okay, and you just have to laugh in the face of that suck. Just have a weird, sick sense of humor.
Yeah. Utmost desire and determination that this is what you really want.
Yeah.
Not to just get through it so you can, beat your chest and say, well, fuck, I did it. It's really about, is this truly a pathway that you want and something you want to become? This is a long one, so I'm going to have to...
sum it up.
I'm going to have to sum it up. If you got a quick one.
Okay. Somebody wants proof that our programs work. We've shared that proof time and time again. There's lots of reviews on it. predominantly the USMC prep is what you're looking at. Man, we've got at this point hundreds of people through.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I can't put names out there. I don't want
Yeah.
to because
the Marines.
the Marines. And it's just not right to throw them under the bus. But I will be honest with you, they've been through it. I've put through people that I've known in the past on the program and
Yeah.
through the program for their job and for their specialty, and they've crushed it and knocked it out of the park. So,
But let me quickly, I'm going to address this though. Do you need the program to go? No, you can go, you can be the bare minimum. You'll float through and you'll be that guy. You'll be the bare minimum, but you won't be an asset. And so what we would like you're going to actually lose sometimes in recruit training. If you're super fit, you'll probably lose a little bit. So on your worst day, I want you to get a 280 to 300 PFT, right? On your worst day. So that means on your best day, hypothetically, you could get, I don't know, a 320, 330 PFT, right? You over exceed the points to be able to get a 330 PFT, so that when you're like haven't slept, you're underfed, you feel weak, and you're like, man, this feels like shit. You still get a 280 because your actual real levels are way higher.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And that's what this program's trying to do, is trying to make you the best. It wants to over prepare you so that when you actually hit the target and you haven't slept, in 3 days, and you're not getting the proper nutrition, you're not getting the proper recovery, you still can perform. You outperform everyone around you. And that's what it is. If you don't want to use the program, don't use it. But we're not in the habit of making mediocre Marines. We're in the habit of trying to get you to be the best athlete and the best version of yourself that you can be. I'll leave it at that.
got Jacob from Hawaii. He's basically looking for enlisted or officer. Completing his 4-year degree. He's determining some cost-benefit ratio there, but really it ultimately just comes into a comment that Nick, you had left in a video about having the ability to have more team opportunities. Officer, vice, enlisted.
So did he say what unit? Is it specifically MARSOC?
He's looking for MARSOC or Marine Corps. I mean,
so
he said he bought the boot camp prep program. He's going through it. His dad is a Marine.
Here's the deal. When you get out, I want to say you used to have more opportunities as an officer. I don't feel that way anymore, but because I made my own opportunities and I was enlisted, and there's tons of enlisted people doing amazing things. So I don't really buy that anymore. I also went to college. I'm literally in 2 weeks. I graduate with a master's. So I think he's
already graduated college.
Yeah. So at this point, it's about what you want to do. If you want to be one of the men, then do that. It ain't going to be fun. You're going to do a lot of shit work at the beginning. And at the end of the day, you will always have to take an order from an officer. They create policy, enlisted enforced policy. Now, a good officer listens to his senior enlisted to help drive that, but you won't always have that ability. Here's the problem. If you want to make change and you want to create policy to make the people and men and women around you better, then you need to be an officer. Knowing that, you also will not be able to do the job for as long as you want to do. So say you go to Recon or MARSOC, you're going to be in a team once, maybe twice, and that's it for you. Your career in that level is done. You're going to go somewhere else.
Even if you stay within the command,
you're somewhere else.
You're not rotating team to the next team to the next team to the next team.
I mean,
enlisted guys are like.
We'll stay in a team for 15 years.
You just keep rolling and you keep being a part of the team, and then hopefully or ideally your position within that team, keeps going up and up and as well. But you're still you're a team guy.
You're doing the job,
teamwork, and the business of a team.
Yeah, and that's the enlisted man, and that at that level, that's their profession. Being a professional warfighter, that is their profession. As an officer, and I don't mean to say this the wrong way, but you're essentially paying rent.
It's not negative. It's just the nature of the way it's constructed. Yeah. So, for anybody as an officer that might be watching this, in the comments that I get all the time, it's not like an adverse, hateful relationship. It's just the honest way that it's constructed, that they dip their toes in a little bit and then they take their foot right out and they go somewhere else.
Yeah. Let's see. Any tips for mentally ready for A&S? Physically, it seems built different and straightforward. Running does suck. Thanks in advance. Honestly, for that, mentally, I don't like to give anything.
What was that?
Jonah. I would say look at Raider Prep. That will physically get you ready. It is, I wouldn't say it's straightforward. Yeah. I mean, get our book and then go. I'll say the older you are, the more level-headed you are, probably the better you'll do. Yeah, be a good team guy.
Let you answer this one. Do you think women who make the standards that aren't lowered would be a good or bad asset as a Raider?
So, is that it? So,
that's the question.
I will say this. Is there a place in special operations for women? 100%. The program, I mean, you can go back to, as far as I know, World War I or World War II. I don't know about World War I, but World War II, there was definitely, we'll say, operatives, assets, whatever you want to say, that were females that were highly capable, highly dangerous, and very effective with what they had to do. Now, on the more operational side, as far as a tactical side, is it possible? Yes. My concern is the longevity of their physical health. Men's physical health will fade over time doing that job. Every single person that's ever done the job knows that. Both of us feel the same thing. But we are more built for it. Our hips, our spine, the way that the man's body is built can handle it for long periods of time before it degrades. The female body cannot. It degrades faster. What bothers me about that is these women want to do this, but at the end of the day, and a lot of them are freaking beasts, man. There's some women out there that can outperform me. But when you put that ruck on, you put that vest on for years and years, they do degrade faster. Now, when you start doing that and you operate that high level, you get into their hormones situation, they stop having periods. I mean, their hair can start falling out. There's a lot of negatives to it. Even when they're like, you take a CrossFit Games, like athlete,
peak physical,
they do degrade over time. And I'm not saying that they don't do the job well. They can do the job well, but you invest, millions of dollars as an individual, and within 2 years they're falling apart. It's not a good investment for the military. This goes back to my opinion. Do I think that they can do it? Yes. Can they do it for a long period of time? No. And that's not because of what I'm saying. That's a genetic, physical situation. Do they have a place there? Yes. And I think we should utilize females within special operations? Yes. Because women can get places and do things that men can never in a million years do.
Yeah.
And that's just the fact. And there are women out there at that level in a bunch of different agencies, both in the military and out, that are doing that.
I think they need to explore the realm of integrating them in under like certain roles of capacities
for certain missions,
certain capacities, maybe a different objective that they're looking to achieve, but a full-on integration, into it. It's nothing negative about women. It just, should you or could you, is two completely different questions. What is your favorite tactical toy and why?
The right tool for the right job, man. Always. I have no favorites. I'm impartial to everything. I don't know. Mark 44. Just because.
Why not?
Because why not?
The blooper, like the M79, little breach action shot.
But again, it's the right tool for the right job always. You're never gonna put me in a box of like the right boot, the right knife, the right gun, the right piece of never. It's about the right tool for the right job always. Josh, this is a quick one, and we got to wrap it up.
Oh.
'Cause I got to go.
Yep.
But does having glasses affect your chance of being accepted into MARSOC? I know that you.
I actually went through LASIK and had my vision done 2 years before I came over. I think it was 2 years.
Did you do it because of that, or just because you wanted it done?
It was a little bit of both. For one, I wasn't sure how stringent things were going to be. I tried going over initially when they started taking people, and I don't know. It was like when third got stood up, when it was before what third is now. So I had whispers in it. They took some guys from where I was working. I was already in the Marine Corps, and I knew that it would get paid for at Bethesda. So I went, and I thought, hey, if this is something I'm going to want to have to do, I don't want to be wearing contacts because it can't really happen in the field environment. Glasses, I hate wearing glasses, especially in the field environment. So my only solution to myself is that if I wanted to operate like that, is that I needed to fix that. So I kind of planned ahead, like we were talking about before, and I got my LASIK done, and then I didn't have to worry about anything after that. My eyes were fine. So
I think we'll end it there. Josh, you've got to go up to New York.
Take a little road trip.
And you're going to come back and swing by?
Yep.
So we'll see what your reactions are here. Drop your questions. Text me in the text group, and leave a comment. And if we start to see a trend with different questions, then when he comes back, we'll just do another one, probably 3 or 4 weeks.
Yep.
And we'll go from there, guys.
That's the baby.
Yeah, and then I will have baby Dimitri here as well. Right. So it might be like, come on, Josh, answer the question. So anyways.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Never quit, never surrender, always forward. And we'll see you guys in the next video.